All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for being here for another beautiful day in Santa Clarita. My name is Cameron Smythe, and I am proud to serve as the mayor of our wonderful community. And I'm here to welcome all of you to our annual Veterans Day ceremony. This is the city's 18th Veterans Day ceremony, and we look forward to many, many more. I think we were the timing's always a little bit difficult, but we did see, if you were here just a few minutes ago, we did have a flyover from our LA County Sheriff's Department, so let's give them a round of applause as well. Thank you for them being here to do their recognition of all those who have served and protect us both here and abroad. And before we get started officially, I think we would like to just have a moment of silence for all the brave men and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice serving our country. So if we could all just take a quick moment to give thanks and reflect. Thank you. Veterans Day serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring respect and gratitude we hold for all those who step forward to protect the freedoms that we all enjoy and hold dear here in this country. Our veterans and active duty military are the backbone of our community, and it is essential to recognize that without their courage, dedication, steadfast determination, the United States of America as we know it would not exist. The sacrifices have safeguarded our values, our way of life, and the freedoms that we all enjoy. And as you look at our assembled audience here today, we see the faces of our honored veterans and are reminded of those who are currently serving around the globe. I'm reminded of the countless sacrifices they've made to make our lives better. And for this, I think we are all eternally grateful. And before we proceed any further, I did want to take a moment to recognize my fellow city council members and others that are here today. First, our Mayor Pro Tem, Bill Miranda. So thank you, Bill. We have also council members Jason Gibbs, Marsha McLean, and Lorene West, all of whom you'll hear from a little bit later. Also want to recognize our city staff, who are here today to make this event go, headed by our city manager, Ken Striplin, but all of our city staff, if we could have a round of applause for them that are here today to make this event. We have some representatives of our elected officials here. We have representing State Senator Scott Wilk, Chris Huff. I saw Chris here in the audience. And representing LA County District Supervisor Catherine Barger, we have Stephanie English as well here representing. From the city's Planning Commission, we have Tim Burkhart and Patsy Ayala are here. Thank you for being here. We have from our Arts Commission, Chair Patty Rasmussen. Patty, thank you for being here. And we also have Renee Berlin from our Planning Commission as well. Thank you, Renee. I think many of us know the history of Veterans Day, but it's always a nice little refresher since we are at the city's historical plaza. The Veterans Day was originally known as Armistice Day, which was created to honor the bravery of those who laid down their lives in service to the United States. Established in 1938, it marks the official end of World War I, which concluded at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918. Here in Santa Clarita, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we join fellow Americans in paying tribute to veterans who served honorably across all branches of the military, both in times of war and peace. This year marks the remarkable milestone of the 80th anniversary of D-Day. On June 6, 1944, we know that the world witnessed one of the most pivotal events in history. D-Day, or Operation Overlord, marked the turning point in World War II as Allied forces stormed the beaches in Normandy. As we stand here today, 80 years later, we are reminded of the courage, determination, and selflessness of those who took part in this monumental operation. The acts of bravery demonstrated that day defined an entire generation, and we are honored to have among us veterans who answered that call during World War II. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication shaped the course of our history. And to our World War II veterans present today, we thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Your courage and inspiration, your courage has inspired generations and reminds all of us of the cost and responsibility of freedom. Your stories are a living history, and we are eternally grateful. But we also want to honor our local heroes from Santa Clarita who have served selflessly for our nation. Additionally, we extend our gratitude to the current members of the military and their families for their sacrifice and courage. You know, the city of Santa Clarita is well known for our patriotism, as well as for being a community that profoundly supports and stands beside our veterans. And this strong partnership is shown by the committee and local organizations that made today's event possible and is a testament to our unwavering support. We sincerely thank all of you that made today happen for your hard work and dedication. And the participating organizations are listed in your program, and many of them have information tables set up that we encourage you to visit as well. Once again, we want to thank you all for joining us this morning, and we especially get to our veterans and active duty military who are here and are serving across the country and across the world. So our first speaker tonight, this morning, is a veteran of himself and has also continued his service by being our mayor pro tem here in the city. Please welcome Bill Miranda.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everybody, for attending here this wonderful morning. It's a beautiful day out here, which is very, very befitting to all the veterans who are here today. I'm going to quote from Ronald Reagan, and please know and understand where I'm going with this. Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit freedom, the freedom we have known, is if we fight for it, if we protect it, if we defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-fought lessons of how they, in their lifetime, must do the same. And if you don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our grandchildren what it once was like when American men and women were free. Ronald Reagan. I was born to a military family, not career military men, but the ground pounders, seafarers, gyrenes, coasties, and yes, junior birdmen. That would be us, Air Force birdmen. I cannot tease the others without teasing myself. My father and my 4 older brothers were veterans. Joining the military for me was an easy decision, although my mother wasn't keen on having the youngest man in her family put her through the stress of being a military mother. Today, American men and women have a different perspective on war and the military, but they still have a great sense of duty and, yes, patriotism. I believe with every fiber in my body that if called upon, young Americans today will step up and do their duty to protect our freedoms, and that they will respond to the great words of General MacArthur: duty, honor, country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. At this time, I would like to invite everyone to stand, if you're able, as we do our Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem. And at this time, I would like to invite to the stage one of Santa Clarita Valley's young Marines, Private Callejas, to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Good morning. Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Private. Well done. Now, like I said, if you would please remain standing as we invite Terrell Edwards to lead us in our national anthem. He is the lead singer for Tower of Power's East Bay Soul, opening artist for Jay Leno, and an international award-winning jazz and soul recording artist. But most important, he is a Santa Clarita resident and U.S. Navy veteran.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Come on. Come on. I guess that was okay, right? Not too bad. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Please be seated. We have some amazing talent in this community, and so blessed to have them be part of our event today. So at our next portion, we will be proceeding with the changing of the flags. We're going to do it a little bit different, so you're not standing the entire time, but we still are going to definitely show our respect. So just look for me to offer some cues as we're going to stand at the appropriate time. But at this point, we want to welcome the Knights of Columbus, Santa Clarita Assembly 2421, the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 355, and the Santa Clarita Valley Young Marines, again, as they prepare the changing of the flags. Again, at this time, if you are able, please rise for the lowering of the flags.
Flag detail, and put.
At this time, if you wish, you may be seated while the flag is being changed and the retired flag is being properly folded. In your program, there is an explanation and symbolism of why each fold and what it represents. All of our flags here at the Plaza are replaced twice a year as part of our Veterans Day and Memorial Day services. The retired U.S. flag from today will be given to one of our veterans in honor of their service. Please rise once again as the new flag is raised.
Flag detail, prepare to raise colors. Flag detail, prepare to raise military standards.
Thank you. At this time, you may be seated while the branch flags are also raised. Well, let's have a round of applause for all good work. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker today is the Reverend Squadron Leader Alice E.R. McDermott from the Royal Air Force. She is both a British veteran as well as active duty. She served in the Royal Air Force for 23 years as a pilot, and after becoming a veteran, she retrained and became an ordained Baptist pastor, initially serving in a church on the outskirts of London. She since then rejoined the Royal Air Force as a chaplain, becoming active duty once again, and currently lives in Santa Clarita whilst on tour of duty here in the United States. Please welcome Reverend McDermott.
Fellow veterans, active duty, and distinguished guests, thank you for allowing me to take part and share in your Veterans Day ceremony. I imagine that it is quite unusual for you to have a British veteran among you, to honour all who have served, and to especially remember those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedom we enjoy. As the Mayor mentioned when he introduced me, I am a veteran and I am also active duty. To understand a little bit of this journey, let me take you back to 2001, Tuesday, September the 11th. It was early afternoon at Royal Air Force Station Lyneham. It was the hub for our C-130 aircraft, and I was a pilot and I was qualified as combat ready on the C-130K model, which was similar to your Super H. I came out of a meeting that afternoon to hear the news that was unfolding from New York, that an aircraft had flown into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. With this shocking news, I promptly returned over to my squadron, number 47, where we gathered in the crew room with the television on and watched the events of the day unfold on all the news networks. It was a completely surreal day. None of us was sure what was going to happen next, but we could all sense that something was about to change. Up to that point of my career, I'd been flying for 14 years. I'd been one of the first tranche of female pilots, and I'd briefly flown fast jets, but I'd found myself and my strength in the tactical transport role. I'd already flown into conflict zones, the Middle East as part of Operation Deny Flight, Europe during the Yugoslav wars, and also into Africa during the war in Sierra Leone. Within moments of realizing something was going to change, we made sure that we were operationally ready. And a few months later, I found myself once more in the Middle East, this time flying into Afghanistan. Each night, I would fly with my crew from an airbase in Oman, which we shared with the US Air Force. And I'd fly in the dead of night, in the dark, up the side of Afghanistan, along the border with Pakistan. And that very first night, my airload master asked over the intercom, "Captain, are we safe?" I really didn't know the true answer, but I said yes. I knew we'd trained to fly into dangerous environments, but there we are. We were there with no defensive aids on the aircraft, just a tactical steep descent, the darkness of night, and trying to limit our time in the zone vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles or small arms fire. That night, and every night as I flew up and into Kabul, I prayed to God for safety. To get our crew home, I bargained with God, saying I'd give church another chance. I'd grown up in faith, going to church with my mum and dad and older brothers. But as a young adult, I turned all my focus and attention onto training and becoming a Royal Air Force pilot. So what happened that night? Well, nothing changed quickly, but after that night, I looked back at it as a turning point, a point that brought me back to my faith and brought me back to God. As I reached out in prayer that first night, it was the start of a journey back to church. And when I returned to church, I was baptized. And when I was in the water of baptism, I knew what I was called to next. That still took another 5 years, but finally I came to the point that I could ignore my call no longer, and I left the Royal Air Force to go to seminary to train for ministry. I had been planning to go and fly for the airlines. I'd even lined up an offer of a job to fly with British Airways. But after leaving the Royal Air Force in 2011, becoming a veteran, I studied and on graduation was ordained and became a pastor of that small church on the edge of London, thinking that's where I was gonna stay. But God had other plans. A plan to lead me back into the Royal Air Force, at first as a reservist chaplain, and then in 2020 as active duty once more. So I'm honoured to stand here alongside you today, a British veteran, but also active duty, living in Santa Clarita, whilst posted here in the US as a chaplain to look after all our British forces and their families stationed across the United States. It is an honour to be here today to remember all those British and American who paid the ultimate price, and to honour the veterans of the United States and the veterans of the United Kingdom. May God bless each one of you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaplain. At this time, I would like to ask Jerry Rhodes of the Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 355, who will now pay tribute to our prisoners of war and missing in action.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to follow one of Great Britain's finest. They've been one of our best allies for a long time, yes. Well, there was that little misunderstanding with King George a couple of hundred years ago, but good morning, veterans, and and happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps. 249 years old yesterday. You guys don't look a day over 200. Today, veterans make up about 6% of the U.S. adult population. Only 1% of those are World War II veterans. Good to see you guys here this morning. And our Korean War veterans make up about 4%. And over 30% are Vietnam veterans. Almost 40% are post-Vietnam veterans. Gulf War, Iraq, Afghanistan, 9/11. This may be the new generation of forgotten veterans. The Vietnam War was unique in that the American public was able to see part of the action, the mass casualties every night on the news, the stacks of coffins waiting to go home. And Americans got angry. When we came home, some took that anger out on us. We didn't get a welcome home. We couldn't even join the VFW or the American Legion. And so we banded together. We helped each other. We formed the Vietnam Veterans of America Incorporated, and it received a congressional charter. We insisted this country recognize that returning from war requires healing, not only of our warriors, but of our nation. We demanded the VA acknowledge that PTSD is real, that Agent Orange is harmful to us and to our children, and that we must make a full accounting of our brothers in arms who are not able to come home. The families of those missing joined us in demanding full accountability from our government. That black flag flying beneath the stars and stripes was created for us all to remember those left behind. And this table, the Missing Man table, has been a symbol of our obligation to leave no man behind. The table is small. It is set for one, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner alone against the oppressors. The chair is empty, depicting no face, representing no specific serviceman, but all who are not here today. The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions in response to their country's call. The napkin is black for the emptiness that these warriors have left in the hearts of family and friends. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us today. A slice of lemon on the plate reminds us of their bitter fate. The salt sprinkled on the plate reminds us of the countless tears of families waiting to hear. The candle is not yet lit, awaiting the flame of freedom. The Bible represents their faith and their pledge to one nation under God. A single red rose in the vase signifies the blood they may have shed in sacrifice to our freedom. The yellow ribbon on the vase stands for the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands of Americans who demanded with unyielding determination a proper accounting of our comrades. And the American flag reminds us of why they were so willing to make this sacrifice. Every bit of freedom you enjoy today is brought to you by the person not sitting at that table. I invite you to come up after the program and take a closer look at this table of remembrance. Currently, more than 80,000 American service personnel are still missing from World War II to the present, over 1,500 from the Vietnam War. And finally, the U.S. Department of Defense created the Defense POW MIA Accounting Agency, the DPAA. They are charged with repatriating our brothers. So far this year, 87 World War II MIAs were recovered. So far this year, 28 from the Korean War were repatriated. And this year, 3 from the Vietnam War were finally brought home. I wonder if Communist Vietnam is fully engaged in our efforts to bring our warriors back. The founding principle of the Vietnam Veterans of America is never again will one generation of veterans abandon another. That is not an indictment on how we were treated when we came home. To the contrary, it is a mandate on how we must treat our fellow and future veterans. We paved the way. We acquired a voice. We must use it to benefit all veterans. We must use it to insist America bring home all of our fallen warriors. We must use it to make sure all veterans get the healing they need and deserve, to make sure that homeless veterans never again have to sleep on the sidewalk outside of the locked gates of the West LA property that is deeded to veterans. And we must use our voice to teach patriotism, love of country to the next generation. An America that no longer believes they are the greatest nation on earth will likely have a very different future. May God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Jerry. Before we move on to the next section of the program, I did miss a couple quick introductions, and it's really important to recognize our school board members. We have Linda Storley from the William S. Hart School District and Joe Messina from the William S. Hart School District as well. Thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce my long-term colleague on the City Council, and that's Councilmember Lorene West, to introduce our Gold Star families.
Good morning. I'm Lorene West, and I am so very proud to be with you today. You represent the best of America right here. You're supporting our veterans. God bless you, and thank you for being here today. One of the remarkable qualities of our community, our city, it's renowned for its deep-rooted patriotism. Santa Clarita's residents go above and beyond consistently. They are dedicated to recognizing and remembering the services and enduring sacrifices of our military. On Veterans Day, we pay tribute to all those who have courageously fought for this nation. And we also take immense pride in our veterans, our sons, our daughters, our loved ones, and neighbors who have served with honor. Today, we extend heartfelt gratitude to those who may not be with us here in person, but who forever will reside in our hearts. Those who gave their lives to protect America's safety and freedom never will be forgotten, must never be forgotten. Their bravery and sacrifice will be honored always. Since 2011, our fallen warriors are the following personnel: Rudy A. Acosta, Stephen E. Colley, Alan E. Colley, John M. Conant, Stephen Cajun Delbano, Jose R. Flores Mejia, Sean Gallagher, Ian T. Gellig, Cole W. Larson, Joshua May Reynosa, Richard Norland, Christopher Penta Costas, Brian C. Prosser, Joseph Salicido, Dennis L. Sellen Jr., Richard P. Slocum, Jake E. Solly, Jake W. Suter, Dean G. Todd Jr., Robert M. Wilson. As we commemorate these valiant heroes, I would like to request the family members present, and those of you belonging to Gold Star families to please rise and let us acknowledge you. There are no words that can truly capture the weight of what you have had to endure. So please note that every person here and all of America holds deep and lasting gratitude for you and for your loved one. To the fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers, husbands and wives, children and grandchildren of our fallen heroes, may God bless you, and know that we thank you, and know that you have the unending support of the city. And may you always know that our prayers are in our heart for you. God bless our country.
All right, well, I'm not sure if he can match his version of the national anthem, but we're going to invite Terrell back up to entertain us with version of God Bless America. Terrell.
From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, white would fall. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans, wide with flow. God bless America, my home sweet home. From the mountains to the oceans, wide with flow. God bless America, oh, my home sweet home. God bless America. God bless America. God bless America, my home sweet home.
All right. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Councilwoman Marsha McLean, who is going to recognize our branches of military service, which will also be accompanied by the song of each branch. Councilwoman.
Hi, good morning. I am Councilwoman Marsha McLean, and I want to thank you all for gathering here today to honor and remember all of the wonderful, brave men and women who have served our nation. And as nice music, not as nice as the songs that are going to be played, but that's okay. And I just want to express my deepest gratitude to those who have dedicated themselves to defending the freedoms and values we all hold dear. And this is especially fun for me because I have family members from years back who have served in every single branch that we're going to honor today, except the Space Force, because that's kind of new. But anyway, it's a true privilege to be here today and take part in the Santa Clarita tradition that reaffirms our community's support for those who have risked their lives to defend our liberty. Throughout time, the men and women of our armed forces have endured unimaginable conditions that all Americans can live free. And it is with great humility and honor that I acknowledge the veterans among us today. As each branch of service is announced, veterans are welcome to stand and be recognized as their military branch song is played. Any veterans of war or peacetime are currently serving military personnel from the Army. Can you please stand to be recognized? Thank you so much. You may be seated if you wish. And will the veterans or currently serving personnel from the Marines please stand? Hurrah, that was that song was for my son, our son as well, who flew helicopters in Iraq. Veterans and military personnel from the Navy, please stand. Thank you. Air Force veterans and currently serving personnel, please stand to be acknowledged. Thank you. And will veterans or military personnel from Space Force please stand? Maybe we'll have someone here one day, right? Will veterans or members of the Coast Guard please stand? And finally, I'd like to ask two more groups to stand and be recognized this year. First, will all those who served during the Korean War please stand so we can thank you for your service? And finally, will any World War II veteran stand so we can acknowledge you? Thank you all so much for your service to our country, and we are forever grateful to all of you for keeping us free, and hopefully we can all remain free Jack Rhodes' words, your words were amazing and so true. We need to all work really hard. Thank you so much, and God bless America.
All right. I'd like to now bring up and please welcome Councilmember Jason Gibbs, who is going to recognize the family members of our service members as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Today, we get to gather to express our deepest gratitude to our veterans for their invaluable service to our country. But there is another group among us who deserve our heartfelt appreciation for their own dedicated sacrifices. They are the children, they are the wives, the husbands, and the partners who spend their holidays without their loved ones by their sides. They are the mothers and the fathers, the siblings and the cousins who celebrate milestones and graduations and birthdays and school performances with a piece of their family not able to be with them. These military families are the heartbeat of our community, strengthening Santa Clarita with their resilience and their support. We know that the families of our military heroes are immensely proud of their loved ones' courageous service, but they too embody courage by contributing to our nation's strength and its well-being. Here in Santa Clarita, we are very fortunate to witness an extraordinary network of military families who not only support one another, but also extend a helping hand to anyone in this community that's in need. At this time, it's my honor that I'd like to ask the family members of our veterans and active duty military to please rise and be recognized by your town. To all of you, thank you so much for the sacrifices that you have made. Your dedication to service is profoundly appreciated. And may God bless all of our veterans today and forever. Thank you, everybody.
You know, I think I'm often asked that, when you serve on the city, what are some of the accomplishments and that you're most proud of? And I can say unequivocally, building this plaza is one of the best things that we were able to do here in the city of Santa Clarita. And I know that my fellow council members feel the same way. And when I know we're supposed to say these things because we are representatives of the city, but Santa Clarita is unique. Not every city has an event like we have here today with a standing room only at a plaza that stands year-round as a continual show of love and support for our veterans. You see the bricks that are here that honor and recognize our veterans and family members in active duty. It's a constant reminder. It's not just a once or twice a year thing here in Santa Clarita. We know and appreciate and will always recognize and support the veterans in our community. And so I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. And again, as we conclude, take time to enjoy the plaza, visit the story stations. We have community members that put in a ton of work to find and list all of our military veterans going back to World War I that were from Santa Clarita that have served, and please take the time to enjoy it. And also, at the conclusion, you are invited to the American Legion Post 507, located next to our Old Town New Hall Library, for a reception and refreshments. And then real quick, we have just one last housekeeping before we break. We would like to have, again, all of our active duty and veterans to work their way up to the front. We've started a tradition of doing an annual photo at this event of our veterans in active duty is a great way to commemorate these events. So again, thank you all so very much. Thank you to all of the volunteers, our city staff that made this day happen. Enjoy the rest of the day. And again, if we could have our active duty and veterans please make their way to the front for our annual photo. Thank you all, and God bless.